Hello everybody, welcome to my new channel. My name is Krista Sommer and this is, working title, Sommer Vintage. I have an Instagram account and I have an Etsy account and it's time to start a YouTube account. I also actually have a TikTok account, although it's not under Sommer Vintage, it's under Krista Sommer. So today I thought it would be really fun because if you notice I have a massive Tupperware container full of patterns right here. And yes, they are all vintage patterns that I've been collecting for the last 10 years. I don't know, maybe less than that, maybe more than that. But I thought it would be fun to kind of explain who I am, what this channel may be, while looking through some of my favorite vintage patterns. And this is not all of my patterns, it's just the ones that I could like sweep my downstairs and look for, and I just threw them all in this box. And if you're wondering, they don't always stay in this box. They're also kind of everywhere. They're not in a better situation, but they need to be. So if you have any suggestions of how to organize vintage patterns, please drop a comment down below. But today's going to be really fun. I've got some questions lined up for myself that I can answer as we're looking through these. And I hope that you enjoy yourselves, and I hope that this leads on to a lot more videos in the future because I really want to do this and I really want to get started. So let's get into it. We'll start with a question and I'll pick some of these patterns that are on top. I kind of like organized a little bit of the on top. I haven't actually been to the bottom of this, so there's probably a lot more that I could look at, but I'll show you some of these top ones first, and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty on the bottom. So my first question for myself is, when did I start sewing? My mom raised 3 kids. I have an older brother and older sister. We're very, very close in age. I think my sister and I are just under 2 years apart, and my brother and sister are about 16 months apart. And we grew up very close, and we still are very, very close. I'm very lucky to have a family that is very close and connected, and I love them to death. And my mom would always dress my sister and I up. She learned how to sew from a friend down the street and dressed my sister and I up in every single holiday, every outing that we went on, to the zoo, to see Shamu, anything. We had matching dresses, and my brother Wade would match us with a color. And from a young age, I remember my mom zipping through the sewing machine all the time, and I would sit and ask her 10,000 questions about, why are you doing that? Why did you choose that color? Why is that thread? Like, what does that thread do? Why are you pushing that pedal? Like, it probably drove her insane until she finally gave in and taught me how to sew on the sewing machine when I was about 10 years old. So I have been sewing ever since, and it started with like blankets, things like that were really small and simple to do, straight lines. And then eventually I became so obsessed and enamored with sewing that I am now a hoarder and have tons of fabric and sewing downstairs, and I probably sew something at least once a week. Not the last year because I just had a baby. That's something about me, is I am married, I have a baby who's 7 months old and is the most precious thing in the whole world. I love her to death. And my husband is very opposite of me, does not do anything crafty, but supports me endlessly. So I just moved into this house last year, which is why the pattern / all of my sewing stuff is kind of a wreck, because our basement is unfinished and that's eventually where my sewing room will go. But I've been sewing since I was about 10 years old, to answer that question, and I'm almost 28 now. I turned 28 next month. And so that's 18 years. That's 18 years of sewing continuously and becoming more and more obsessed with it every single year. So that leads to how I collected all these patterns. Basically, when I was a little bit older, probably like 14 or 15, I became absolutely obsessed with anything that was vintage, because my grandma would always take us to antique stores, and I wanted to wear all the costumes. I wanted to look like these beautiful women in the magazines from the 50s and the 60s, and that just led to me realizing that I could make these things for myself, and I could make them exactly what color I wanted to my specifications, and that rolled me down a crazy rabbit hole, and now I have a crazy collection of vintage patterns. So let's get into some of these. I'll show you. Actually, this is probably my most recent one that I bought. My husband's grandma lives right next to this like really freaking cool antique store, and where's the other one? Over here. I found this one there. They only sell patterns that are complete, and I did check and they are complete, but I want to make this so bad. Look how cute this little shirt is, and it comes with all of the applique transfer things for the initials that you can put on, so you're going to see me wear a little KS. And anyway, so that's one of the first ones I bought, or the most recent ones I bought. This one's Simplicity 2311, and it's got a bigger bust and a hip, which is awesome because I've had a baby. And it's got this really cute back detailing where it has darts. It's from the 50s, I'm pretty sure. Although I'll have to go in and check. Actually, I'll put it, whenever I show you a pattern, I'll put on the screen where it's from if I could find it. So it's got this button detailing on the back. It's just charming. I'm obsessed with it. Bought this one recently, and then I'll show you a couple more. From the same shop, I got this one because my mom has chickens right now, and she's obsessed with them. And I made her a little chicken apron to hold all her eggs in it. But I thought she would love this one, and it's an advanced pattern. It's a really easy sew. It's a small, but it's number 5988, and it is a, what they call, let's see, an apron poncho. So cute. I'd say this one's probably 50s as well. And then let me show you one more kind of fun one. Let's see. Maybe I should just I'm just gonna grab one. I literally can't grab just one. Ooh, this one's fun. This one's from the 60s, probably late 60s. It's very retro. It is a children's pattern, a girl size 12, and it's a Simplicity pattern 7518, and it's this really cool little wrap dress pattern. Cute. I have tons of little girl patterns, which hopefully will make an appearance on this channel when I make them for my little girl. Okay, so next question is, when did I sew my first vintage piece? So like I said, I learned to sew at 12 or 10. I think honestly, I sewed my very first vintage piece, which actually, let me find it. Okay, here it is. So my very first vintage piece in I think it was 2018 or 2019. So it was actually pretty recently. I collected them for a long time and never sewed any of them because I had nowhere to wear them. I wasn't confident enough to wear them to school. It wasn't really like a popular thing to sew costumes or anything like that, so I kind of was like a closeted costume sewer at my home during high school and all that. But my family went, and we always do this, we go to Disney World for every family vacation because I'm from Houston actually. Anyway, we went to the opening of Star Wars. Anyone knows anything about me, I'm a Star Wars girly through and through. My dad raised us on 80s movies and 70s movies, and that is his absolute favorite. It's the Star Wars series. So I bought on eBay a Star Wars sheet. Oh, actually, Wade may have found it. We're big thrifters. Like I said, my grandma used to take us to thrift stores all the time, and I think Wade found it. And it was a Return of the Jedi Star Wars sheet. Incredible. That one's probably my favorite movie growing up, but my favorite is actually A New Hope. And I took that sheet and looked online on Etsy. I did a little tippy tap on my keyboard and looked on Etsy and found a romper pattern that was vintage, and I was like, that one looks like I could wear it today. That was my thought process. I could wear that and people wouldn't know necessarily that it's vintage. And I bought the pattern, I printed it out. It was one of those printable patterns. I'll actually link it down below because it's still for sale. And I printed it out and I made my very first vintage pattern. I'll post a picture of it here. It's not the greatest ever, but just 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, my mom and I were with my brother. She came up to see my baby, and not for the first time. She tries to come up once a month, honestly. But we went vintage thrift shopping, and I found the actual original pattern of that. And so I don't think maybe I will make it again, but it was so special to me because that was my very first pattern I ever made. Vintage. It was this version right here, and it'll be so interesting to see. I'm going to download it from my Etsy store again that I had and see if how similar the instructions are and everything, because I remember having such a hard time what is a covered button. I'd never done stuff like that. I still learn every time I do any sort of sewing. But this is actually a Hollywood pattern. It's number 1135, and on the back it says it's a playsuit and pinafore jumper. So it's pretty freaking fabulous, and I'm still obsessed with it. I may make it again because it's so fun. But this is in a size 32 bust and 35 hips. So kind of fun. That was my very first vintage pattern that I made, and it just kind of led to an obsession after that. And I started to say, who cares what other people think? I want more vintage in my wardrobe, and I started to make more vintage in my wardrobe, and people started complimenting me when I wore it, and it led me down a crazy rabbit hole of collecting even more patterns, if you can believe it. One of the reasons why, and I'm still a little bit like this, I'm not like one of those people that wears full hair, full makeup, full vintage, goes vintage shopping, wears the shoes from the decade, all those things. I really respect people that do that, and I think that they're truly fabulous. I follow so many of them. But I come from a really heavy theater background. I don't know if I said this, I may have said this before. My brother and I went to college for the same degree, which was a Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater. And I was in acting, he was in, I think he was in acting too. It may have been musical theater for both of us, I can't remember. But we went for a Bachelor of Fine Arts. So I am very used to being a part of shows that I wear vintage things in or do the hair and makeup for. And that's kind of what made me fall in love with vintage in the first place, is like being in theater and like wearing these things. But I found that the more I was doing that in theater, the more I would feel like I was wearing a costume outside because I was so used to wearing them on stage that I kind of just focused on trying out and auditioning for shows that had those costumes so I could wear them until I got confident enough to wear them outside. So sometimes I still feel a little costumey, if you will, if I wear a ton of vintage or like full vintage. But I've become more and more comfortable with it and more excited about it in my later years because I don't care. Like I said, I don't really care what people think, and these clothes are so fantastic that it's like, I love stepping back in history. I'm a huge history buff. Anything that has to do with anything historical, I'm there for. So, okay, next question I have for myself is, what are my favorite eras to wear? I will say I have like 12 favorite eras, to be honest with you. There's only a few I don't like and prefer not to wear, but there are still pieces from those eras that I really like. So I love, love, love basically anything evening and mostly daytime too, from the 30s. I love the 30s. I think they're so elegant. The fabrics are gorgeous. The way that they just like fall on you is just beautiful. I love the 30s. My favorite era, because of history, is probably the 40s. I love to learn anything about World War II. I love to attend stuff like that. I love the hair. I love the makeup from. And then my other favorite to like wear on a daily basis is the 60s. I love the boxy lines from the 60s. I have a very, as my mom describes it, swimmer's body. So I'm very straight as a board, like a little boy, until I had a kid, obviously. But I was very thin and straight everywhere. And so 60s look really good on my body. And so I tend to kind of like gravitate toward that until I was in a 1920s musical. I was in Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I literally fell in love with the 20s, and I think people get it really mixed up with it being super boxy and gross and baggy, and that was not it at all. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite patterns from the decades that I just told you about. And number one is this freaking fabulous one that my brother found me. And it's from the New Del Tour, and it's Butterick pattern 3310. It's definitely from the 20s. I'll see if I can find like the exact date of it, but sorry, it's like, can you see that? Hold on. Look at that. Are you kidding me? The way that those lines are, I would die to make this. All the little collar. It's kind of a dream of mine. It's on my bucket list to fully costume a theater show, like be the head costumer of one, and I would love to do Thoroughly Modern Millie and pull that bad boy out. So that's from the 20s. And then I have some pretty fantastic ones from the 30s. I don't have a lot of 30s patterns. They're really hard to find and they're pretty rare, but there's this one antique store my brother and I go to probably once every like 2 or 3 months, and they always have really good 30s patterns. So here's one. It's also from New Butterick pattern, New Del Tour, and it's number 3235. And it's a size 16, which is a bust to 34, but it is a frock for women and misses. Basically, it is a gorgeous low back evening dress. It has a bunch of different options, though. You don't have to wear it as an evening dress. Let me try to get it to do its thing again. So beautiful. It does have all of the pieces. And then here's another 30s one, and this is more of a day dress. It says, there we go. Look at her. Look at those sleeves. Beautiful. I have a 30s pattern that I'm in love with, and I actually digitized it and put it on Etsy. So if you see any of these patterns that you're like, I need that, ask me to digitize it, and I'll probably put it on Etsy for sale. Pattern in, it's the New Del Tour again, Butterick. It's 5808, and it is a 36-inch bust, and it's number 5808. Oh, I already said that, 5808. Where did I say that before? Anyway, look at this. Do you see this detailing right here in these like bishop sleeves? Oh, I die at this one. And this one, it has an option for the tied sides. I'm obsessed with this one. It's gorgeous. It's in really great condition considering how old it is. I just recently got this one. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that. My SD card ran out of memory. But I was going to show you some more of the patterns that I had from my favorite decades. Here is another Hollywood pattern. It is from, I'm pretty sure this one's from the 40s. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I'm trying to show you. It's 40s one. This is a size 12, 30 bust, 33 hip. It's 1523, the number, and it's a Hollywood pattern. Here we go. How cute is that? I love the colors on this one. I love this blouse right here. These pajamas. I am a pajama girly through and through. This one I just got recently, and it is Simplicity 2302. It's size 12, 30 bust, and it is a gorgeous skirt and jacket that can also be a dress and jacket, I think. Oh, it's maternity. How sweet is that? When I'm pregnant again, I'm making this. Like, it doesn't even look maternity. Oh, I'm making that for sure. I don't know if it's focusing on my face or not. So cute. And then as for 60s, this one kind of has a funny story to it. I'll show you really quick. It is Simplicity 6158, and it is it's like a dress pattern. It's a dress. But what's funny about this one is I was wearing this dress that I made. You know, I was thinking, oh, that's older than the other one I made for the first time. But I was wearing this dress that I made for the first time when my husband first met me, and he will not let me throw away the dress or recreate it or take it apart because he loves it so much. I made it in black velvet, and I wore it for Christmas. I'll show you a picture. I think I have a picture of me wearing that, so I'll show you. And then this one, which is Simplicity, I don't know, 6181, or 6018. And it's a bathing suit pattern. Now this led me into something really fun that I still want to do, and I'll explain that to you in just a second. So the next question that I have for myself is, what are the plans for this channel? I'll probably end with this question because there's a lot that goes into it, but it's kind of really fun. When I originally was thinking about doing a channel just a couple weeks ago, I mean, I've thought about it for a long time, but when I was really sitting down to think about what I could do, I thought about doing this video, and then I was like, is there anything else I could do? Let me write down all of the things that I can think of that I would like to record. And I sat down for maybe 6 minutes, and I had 40 different ideas already written on my phone for channel or for YouTube videos that I'd like to create. And it made me really excited and really ready to start, just like get started and go. But one idea that I've had for a really long time, and even started to do years ago before I was married, was I had this amazing idea, and thought. And it was when I was scrolling on Etsy and found this pattern. It was the beginning of summer and I was excited about swimsuits, and we had a trip planned to Disney World. And on Pinterest, when I was looking up the swimsuits, I found a swimsuit picture of these girls in 1960, and they were wearing their little two-pieces, and I was like, oh my gosh, they look so cute. And then upon further like investigation, I was like, what are those made out of? Like, what are those? Turns out that they would regularly make swimsuits out of materials that we would not use today for swimming. So like not nylon, not stretchy, not water resistant materials. They used like cotton and wool and stuff like that, depending on the era when you look into it. I don't know why this hit me so hard. Like, I've never seen that before, but it did at this time. And it got me into this like idea where, what if I went through decade by decade and made 3 separate looks? A activity look, so something that it would have been really popular at the time. So like 1920s, I feel like tennis was really popular, or exploration was really popular. Like, that's when they found King Tutankhamun's tomb in Egypt. Like, what would they have worn to wear that? And would that work if I went and did that activity today? Would that work? Like, could I make something in the right fabrics, in the right way, in the exact way it says on the pattern from the time period? Could I make that, and would I be comfortable today, or would I be more comfortable in what I would wear or what society tells me to wear now? And so it became like this big idea in my head that I would make 3 outfits per decade: an evening wear, an activity, and something to sleep in. Because like I said, I love pajamas, which in Texas, I grew up calling them night clothes, which my husband always makes fun of me for. Every time I put my baby in night clothes, he's like, pajamas, PJs, not night clothes. Anyway, make these 3 outfits and then make a video of how I feel wearing them, and if they feel like they still work today, or if I prefer what I wear today now, like a swimsuit material. So I actually did make this exactly like it looks on the cover, with the exact fabric that I could find that looked exactly like this. And I think I have a picture of me wearing it somewhere. I'll really have to dig, but I'll probably remake it if I don't, because this is what started the craze, and I would like to make that a series of videos. So that's one thing I would like to do. Another couple video ideas that I'd like to do is lots of sewing, but also lots of crafting. I love to throw parties, and we moved into our house about a year ago, and then I had a baby almost immediately after, like 4 months after that. So we've really been settling in. We've been adding stuff to, as you can tell, we're in the middle of adding Christmas to my house right now, and it's literally November 1st. But that being said, all of the stuff that's in here is being prepared so that we can have more people over more frequently. We can have friends over. I have some really, really close friends that we've talked about doing girls' nights, and I want to go all out on these girls' nights, like pick a theme. For example, one that I really think would be super fun to do is Titanic, because I'll show you. On our honeymoon was Ireland, and in Belfast, Ireland is where they actually built the Titanic, and so they have this massive, beautiful Titanic museum. So we made it a point to go to that museum when we were on our honeymoon. And there I bought, as a keepsake, The Last Night on the Titanic, Unsinkable, Drinking, Dining, in Style. And it's literally a book of recipes. Oh my gosh. I haven't opened this in so long, and look, there's the little postcards I got from the Titanic. Anyway, it is a recipe book and a diet, like how they would have like served the people on the Titanic, and it's a book about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to freaking do that. My friend Alyssa and I are obsessed with the Titanic, and we're convincing Kaylee to be obsessed too. But I thought it would be so fun if I made the 3 of us accurate historical costumes from the Titanic, and we have a Titanic high tea where I make them like freaking the actual stuff they would have made on the Titanic. So that's like a party idea. Girls' night, like it's like extreme girls' nighting. But let's see, what else do I want to include on this channel? Definitely historic costuming. I'm really big into that too. I know we haven't talked about that a lot because we've been focusing on vintage fashion, but I love costuming. That's where one of my very first loves and where a lot of this stemmed from was costuming, because I'm a theater person and I love to wear anything that pulls me back in time. I'm a huge history person. I'd like to go back to school. It's going to sound really weird, but I want to go back to school and major in archaeology. It's what I've wanted to do since I was little. And so historic costuming means a lot to me. I have a lot of like, you know, more modern patterns. It's like Butterick history patterns. But I also have, actually I saw it earlier. And also, I can't find it. It's going to bother me that I can't find it, but I can't. I was just going to show you one of my like historic costuming ones, but I don't know where it went. I literally just saw it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the other thing that I would like to do is, my mom raised us every Sunday we would watch a musical, like one of the classic Golden Age musicals. So we watched like Fiddler on the Roof was always my favorite growing up, Sound of Music, The Phantom of the Opera. Actually my favorite was probably Annie Get Your Gun. I loved Annie Get Your Gun, and obviously that led me to go into a lot of theater. But because we'd watch all these really old Hollywood movies, A Wizard of Oz, I was literally Dorothy, I think like 7 years straight for Halloween because I loved her so much, and I still do. My favorite is Judy Garland. Judy Garland's my favorite ever in the whole world. But that being said, I have a huge, hefty list of costumes that I'm truly, fully obsessed with that I would like to recreate and maybe make into patterns. I'm not talented at pattern drafting at all, but I have been dabbling in it, so I think it'd be fun to kind of show you, you know, like costuming Hollywood costumes and making those kind of things. Like, this one's gonna sound really weird, but I always wanted the outfits that they wore when they were, oh, they say when you're married in June, you're a bride all your life. I wanted those so bad that I think it would be hilarious to make a historically accurate version of that, or make it movie accurate at the very least. So those are some things that I would like to do. And then I also have a baby that's 7 months old. I know I've said that, and she's darling. I wish I could show her to you guys, but for safety reasons I probably won't ever show her face. But that doesn't mean that I probably won't show you mommy and me stuff. I'll just probably blur out her face because I have hundreds of patterns. Oh no, she woke up, she's mad. She's literally laying on her belly. But anyway, I have hundreds of patterns of little girls' patterns that I would like to recreate for her too. So those are kind of the plans for my YouTube videos. If you are interested in that, let me know. If you saw any of these patterns and you're like, oh. Okay, sorry about that. Had to go get that screaming baby. Anyway, basically that's the plans that I have for my YouTube channel. I'm sure there will be so many more that pop up, like capsule wardrobe, vintage things, obvious little things like me actually just making something from here. I think it would be really fun, and I already started to kind of do one where I just randomly close my eyes, pick a pattern. This one feels really thick. Not that one. Okay, close my eyes, pick a pattern, and make it, no matter what it is, and then wear it. I think that would be really fun. Follow me along. I'm really excited to start this journey, and I'm so grateful that you were here, and those that did watch. Let me know what you thought, what your favorite pattern was that we showed today, and if you are desperate to find the pattern that I had in here, like you want this 1940s shirt more than anything in the world, then comment down below, and I will do my best to put it on my Etsy, because my Etsy I'm constantly working on digitizing patterns for and putting them online so that you can download and buy them yourself and make the same patterns that I do. So hopefully I'll be able to do that for all the patterns that I do in my videos, but you're welcome to always reach out if you see something that you really wanted. In the meantime, I'm really excited to start recording more videos. Thank you again for being here with me today, and I look forward to the future of Sommer Vintage, which is maybe a working title, maybe it is the real name. I've had a couple of them that I've kind of gone through, but Anyway, really grateful for you guys, really excited about everything, obviously, and most importantly, I am excited to get our journey started together. So like, subscribe, comment down below, and get ready for some really fun stuff in the future.